Let me pull up the. All right, let's bang the gavel. Let's do our roll call. I'm Katie Reese. Ken Hutchinson.
Present.
We noted that Mr. Johnson is out and Mr. Yang are out, and Alex Zacharias.
Present.
And do we also then have Beth Kowalski?
Beth is excused this morning.
Okay. How about Rizal Peguero Almonte?
Also excused.
Sadie Wilson.
Present.
And then Timothy Perlowitz.
Excused.
Okay. First item is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Before we approve, I just want to make a note. We did receive a communication from our applicant for item number 3. They are requesting to hold their application at this time.
Okay, that will be a brief meeting then. Okay, so we have a motion from Alex to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the agenda is approved, and then next, approval of the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that brings us to our regular business. Number 1, election of the chair and vice chair of this committee.
October, the time of year that we go back through and run our elections. Currently, Katie is our delightful chair that is rocking the position, as well as Kent Hutchison, who is currently our vice chair. And now we need to re-elect for a whole new year.
I'll make a recommendation, since you're rocking it so hard, Katie, that you remain in the chair position. And
I
I say-
accept that endorsement. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
We have to do a call 3 times.
oh, we have to call 3 times.
That's right, I forget.
So we
A
have,
call 3 times for like nominations from the floor.
Do I have a nomination for chair?
I nominate Katie for chair.
Do I have a nomination for chair?
any other number?
Are there any other nominations for chair? Hearing no other nominations. Nominate Katie Reese for chair of PAC.
I humbly accept the nomination. Do we need to vote then? Or should we nominate a vice chair as well?
I think we nominate both of them in that.
Either way is fine.
So Chuck is not here. He was kind of on my short list to nominate.
He's not here. I don't know. I don't think you, I think it's one of those things that if you're not here, then you get like all the work.
Did you get 6 more anyway?
Yeah. You get-
You can call and go, please.
I think Chuck would be a good VP or
Doesn't he have to accept the nomination though?
It wouldn't be official until he does actually accept, so he would have,
Okay,
Get like held until next meeting.
yeah, you could make the nomination, but.
all right, let's call for nominations for vice chair. I nominate Chuck Yang.
Me too. I approve.
Do we need to make 3 calls for this one as well?
Yes.
Okay, are there any other nominations for vice chair? And a final call for nominations for vice chair. All right, we will wait to hear from Chuck, but if Chuck accepts, we don't need to vote, or he just needs to accept?
You would
can't
still
remember.
vote, it would just be if he does not accept at the next meeting, you'd have to re-vote it.
Thank you. All right, all in favor of Chuck as vice chair?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, pending Chuck's awareness of this nomination and acceptance of it, he will be our vice chair. That brings us to our second order of regular business, consideration with possible action. The grant project is called A Walk with Nature. Do we have someone from this group present?
We do have members from the neighborhood association present here at the meeting.
Great. Okay,
Motion to open the floor.
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? The floor is open.
If you guys would like to come and join there in April, if you could state your name and address for the record, please, that would be great. Yes, my name is Jamie Pepe. I reside at 1425 Caters Drive. And I am going here with Melinda Eck.
Yeah, I'm the elder of the district and also the president of the neighborhood association.
And I have the pleasure of speaking on behalf of John Muir Park in regards to a art project that we worked on over the summer and this fall called A Walk with Nature. So we had the pleasure of hearing from Laura Schley recently at one of the neighborhood association meetings and kind of discussing what kind of art possibilities could be grants available to us as a neighborhood association. So we started working, presenting ideas in July, just kind of getting neighborhood community support and input as to what we would like to see in our neighborhood. And one of the general themes was keeping with the nature theme. John Muir is considered the father of national parks, and that is who our park is named after, as well as just something true to nature and something that could be walking. Walking was one of the themes. So we came up with an idea of a scavenger hunt for those who have never been to John Muir Park. It is a park on the west side of Green Bay. And it has quite a few acres and there are many trees. So what we propose is kind of working to get creating the scavenger hunt so people can find nature within the trees of the park. So that is when we started finding an artist. So we were kind of reviewing and we felt that an artist that really spoke to us in his pieces was Ben Bushke. For those that don't know him, he is a chainsaw artist from Manawa, Wisconsin. And he is already in my mind the next, or a very famous artist. His work is featured at Roadway America, as well as the Botanical Gardens. And chainsaw artistry is kind of a trend right now. And so I reached out to him and he was more than happy to work with our association to kind of make this project happen. So what we decided after we had his response of yes, he would like to work with us, we decided to work and kind of get some animals. So our goal for this project is when you walk into our park, there's kind of a corner that is kind of like our entryway. We will have featured a bear that is approximately 3 to 4 feet with its cub, kind of as a welcome into our park. And then also a sign there that will say that there are different animals amongst the park that you can view. And what we did to make the community feel involved in this is we did have in September a Facebook campaign for the neighborhood to choose which animals they would like to see. So with that, we had 10 animals chosen. We chose a raccoon, the red-tailed hawk, the American martin, the great horned owl, a cardinal, chipmunk, blue jay, red-headed woodpecker, goldfinch, and a ruby-throated hummingbird to be displayed. And then also our association decided that we would also choose the American robin, badger, bald eagle, and mourning dove to be displayed due to their significance for the state and the nation. So ideally, that total, the quote we received from Mr. Ben Bushke would be approximately $7,000. And then we would have a sign displayed at the front of the park, and that would be approximately $800. So altogether, we would be looking at $7,800 for those 14 pieces. However, I do know that there is more, so we did request the full amount that we could be allotted. Because there are different animals that were like very popular, however, just lost. So we did have an alternative 10 different animals that approximately the pieces that would be in the trees would be about 1 to 2 feet. And they're going to be approximately $300 depending on how much. So that is how we come before you today. Anticipated opening, he would be We would be looking at summer and fall of 2023 that these would be displayed if we do get the grant. We have worked with the Parks Association or the Parks Department. We approached the director and assistant director of the parks. And we have actually gone before the Parks Commission to be granted approval by council to be having this in the park. So we do have that approval before us today. So now we're just looking for the funds to make this a reality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Members?
have, I'm so impressed. I'm looking forward to the red tail hawk. That would be my favorite one. I love the idea. This is sort of interactive, yet, you know, it's art and out in nature, which is unique. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
So, this is probably one of the most well put together applications that I've seen. I commend you on that.
Thank you.
I would say the footwork is clearly evident
Yeah.
as far as the amount of thought and energy that you've put into the project so far.
That's really great. The concept, I also agree with Alex. This is an immersive type of installation that is super engaging for the audience, so that's really fun. The one concern that I have is that we're not funding a local artist. We're funding something from away. So I'm wondering if you gave that consideration and like how you actually came about to choose this guy. And I know he already did a lot of work, and so I'm kind of grasping with, okay, we're putting potentially, well, $78,000 or $10,000 out of our community to fund, but we are getting the sculptural work. So it's kind of like the catch-22 in my view in that regard, because these dollars staying in our community is super important. So have you considered other artists that are local, or how was your decision making around that, I guess?
Sure, so we did meet with a local artist here, and the wonderful thing about local artists is they have now becoming up and coming, and they're being used nationwide. The artist that I did work with was great and kind of gave us more perspective on how he kind of helped us with the footwork of how to talk to an artist.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so it was a local artist, and unfortunately, we're out of our price range and such like that, so. And originally, so that was something that we did, kind of going down the list of some of the local artists that were featured in like the inspiration board. And I guess the reason why Ben Bushke was chosen is just, we've had he has worked on some work for some of my family members.
Sure.
And then as well as, he does do a lot for the community. For example, he does donate a lot to the botanical gardens, like some of his work it benches. That is, so just as an artist in general, I just kind of respect what he does for the community. Not necessarily, although he doesn't live in our community, he does give back to ways.
Right.
And I think to add on to that, what exactly is our definition of local? Because I could still view a Wisconsin-based artist as local.
And I would like to put in, I did speak of purchasing on this, because Laura had brought up your concern before. These are federal funds, and that cannot be a criteria for federal funds,
Okay.
as long as they are a US citizen. That's because federal funds, they don't look at boundaries in that way, so you cannot use geographic location. Besides being like in our community, it has to, like, the art has to remain in our community. You can't use the geographic location as a criteria
Sure, for the artist.
for the artist.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't.
Okay.
So,
I'd like to speak to, I'll second Kent and Alex. I think this is a very thorough project, and I really appreciate that. I have a little bit of concern about the long-term care of these pieces, and I'd like to know what kind of budget you have or what sort of plans you have for maintenance for the next decade or so.
Oh, yes, so the art piece itself, as far as care, is relatively a simple process. They are originally sealed, and all that needs to be done is a continual seal. One thing that we have to keep in mind when we're putting, and the artist has agreed to work with the Parks Department as to what the appropriate trees would be. shade is gonna be the wood carving's best friend versus sun. They will last longer as well as that. And then they recommend on an annual basis, add a sealant. So that is relatively inexpensive, and our association will work with the Parks Department to do the regular maintenance of the ceiling. And then also ultimately wood carvings in aging itself becomes beauty, so over time they may not look the same as they were first presented in the beginning. However, over time, the characteristics that a wood will bring on will ultimately bring a different look. That's not necessarily a negative thing. And then also snow is not, that's why they're also in trees, just kind of keep off the ground, because that can prevent some, like of the soggy, like if their feet are in the ground, that can cause some issues, so that's why they're in trees, so.
Great, yeah. So I'm hearing you say that the neighborhood association will be responsible for the cost and for the maintenance? You said you'd work with Parks, but like, is this something that Parks then has purview over and will take on as a thing, an asset that they care for, or do you see what my question is?
Right, yeah, so we're still, because ultimately they are in trees, because I'm not sure how they, will have to work with the parks as far as. Because ultimately, I don't think they want me to get up on the ladder. I'm more than willing to get up on the ladder and start taking these things, but I'm sure they would like some kind of thing. So we're still working on that piece of it. However, the actual cost of the maintenance is a sealant that can be purchased at a hardware store, relatively inexpensive. It's just more of who will be going into the trees to.
Right. Well, I guess that, I mean, if Parks is okay with that additional labor and you all, it sounds like, are prepared to sort of partner with that, then that speaks to my concern. Thank you. Other thoughts or questions about this project?
So I have a question about the budget. So right now, the budget currently sits at 7,800, is that correct?
That would be based off of 14 pieces. I did get a quote from him for an additional 10,
Okay,
not knowing necessarily what. When initially interacting with them, I didn't want to overpromise our community, I thought. So that's why we did an additional 11. So we can get it up to the 10,000 mark based off of the 11, that additional.
11 additional?
Yes,
Okay.
those just weren't voted on. So I guess the minimum I would want would be the 14, but we were more than happy. We're paying the $1,000 installation fee. So because of that, the more that we could get in this initial installation would be ideal.
Okay. So with 10,000, you could get 14 plus 11, you can get
Yeah, we
25.
commit, I think it's 24. Yeah,
24?
drop.
Okay.
Should also mention that we only have $9,577 left in the small grant fund.
Yeah,
So right off the bat, I think that we might need to knock off, right, one or two of the additional animals. I also saw, I don't know, I don't want to muddy up waters or anything like that, but in the additional budget that you had provided, as far as like other like add-ons within the very nice packet that you guys had created. You had other add-ons for like an on-site carving that the artist would actually come to the park. I don't know if the commission has a feeling one way or the other, if they'd rather see more animals be created in the scavenger hunt collection, or if they'd like kind of that interactive element. Otherwise, maybe that's something else that you could raise additional funds through other grants. Correct.
is that
My thoughts on the live chainsaw event have to do with my initial thoughts on this project entirely, which is that as far as I can tell, it doesn't fall within the census tract we identified for this grant. And so to me, it did sort of come up like, how is this increasing opportunities for low income residents of Brown County? I allow that it absolutely increases opportunities to access art for the people in the neighborhood, but as far as I can tell, that's a neighborhood very close to Lambeau with pretty high property values. And so unless there are plans for how a live chainsaw event will be made available to people beyond the immediate area, that would be something I would encourage you to drop out in favor of having more art, which can be more easily accessed by others.
Speaking with Susan House and other staff regarding the census tract, because we had another interested applicant that also was located outside of that census tract, but still within a public park. And I've been told that with projects taking place in a public space, like a public park,
She was comfortable having that meet that eligibility requirement since there's bus lines and generally most public parks are accessed by everyone in the community.
I hear that, but we've in the past sort of pushed other applicants to be more explicit about how they will make the work accessible. So just merely being accessible is not the same thing as kind of getting people to that point. So I hear what you're saying, but I would also just say if it's a live chainsaw event that costs, at least in this one budget, almost a fifth or 20% of what's being requested, then I think that should be spoken to a little bit, the publicity or kind of who's the audience there. But I hear what you're saying about public parks being accessible more broadly.
And I think for what we're asking for the public arts is the pieces themselves, and then we can look at alternatives as far as mini grants and such for maybe some of the live events, so just making it a collective package.
That sounds good to me.
And is,
Motion to close the floor?
One more comment, Alex.
Oh, okay.
okay, so I do want to give credit to Jamie because she put this together. She's asked me for input, and I was really excited about the idea when she came in. We went through, she looked at, her and I went and visited different local artists as well, and you know, unfortunately, they just weren't way out of our price range, but and I think, is it Alex, he mentioned the interactiveness, and I really like that idea. And Jamie was inspired because she went to Rapid City and they had this type of scavenger hunt throughout the city looking for different statues of the presidents, right?
Right.
And so it was kind of like taking that and applying it here. So again, I agree the interactiveness, that's what I'm excited about. And we not only on Facebook had people voting, we had our annual party and concert in the park. And then we set up a display for people to be able to vote there too. And at our last neighborhood meeting, we were telling what the winning animals were, and everybody just seemed really excited about the idea. So just want to give that input.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments y'all want to make in regard to? No. A motion to close the floor?
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The floor is closed. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the application as submitted?
Well, it seems like,
Or do we want to discuss?
yeah, we don't have $10,000, we have 9,000, what?
9,577.
Okay, so we'd be maxing out our budget, but
Okay,
the intention behind these funds, so.
Spend them.
I'll motion to
motion,
pass to approve, up to our budget, restriction.
I second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right,
Thank you.
the application is funded up to our budget. Congratulations and thank you all for a thorough proposal.
She's an overachiever.
They were all that, right?
Okay, so as Laura mentioned, the second applicant, the Creative Public Seating, has withdrawn their application.
They requested the application be put on hold, so I believe the technical, we would need a table the item.
Either table it or just leave it. Leave it on hold and just move on.
A motion to table item 3.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. Item 3 is tabled, which brings us to my favorite part of the meeting, the coordinators report and project updates.
That's wild. It's kind of my favorite part because it means we're getting close to the end. As far as updates, so our last meeting on October 4th, there were 3 out of the 6 applicants that we had that you all had requested additional materials before approval. I'm still working with those 3 applicants. I'm kind of getting that updated information and reviewing that on the staff level. So most likely we'll have an update for you at our next meeting regarding those. As far as one of our first ones, so contracts are being signed for a lot of the very early projects that you all had approved. And we actually have some dates that are gonna be coming up on the calendar for one of our grant recipients. The Chantels, Green Bay's longest running women's singing group. They are going to be having several performances in December, so I'll be sending out information on those dates to y'all. In addition to that, so I think at last meeting, I had mentioned we were gonna be having a mural unveiling during the October Ignite Market for our Mason Street murals. That event unfortunately got rained out, so that unveiling is being rescheduled to a future date.
They're so.
And then, yeah, they are. If you haven't gone out and checked them out, definitely just spend maybe not today or tomorrow, anytime this week. It's kind of rainy. I guess, yeah, you're under a bridge.
Be dry.
But yeah, definitely check them out.
Yeah.
And then Stephanie has a photo for us that I would like to share regarding the clay mosaic that was worked on during Art Fest this summer. A very cool in-process photo.
Yes.
Still working on planning out the installation dates, weather depending and how that all kind of wraps up. This is roughly, I'd say probably about a quarter
Quarter of it.
of the overall piece, but
Those are all fired and.
Yep,
There you go. That's
those
awesome.
are fired and ready to rock. So yeah, I think once it's fully installed, that will be quite impressive. And once we get a date set up for the unveiling and everything else, I'll keep you guys in the loop on that. Other than that, I'd like to note, oh, also one last thing. Tomorrow is the GBPAC's anniversary. We're gonna be 7 years old tomorrow. Thanks to this guy. And a lot of other movers and shakers and forward thinking people in City Hall. So congratulations all on almost 7 years of increasing art opportunities in the community. Other than that, our next meeting, so we aren't gonna have a November meeting with the holidays and everything else like that. Previous years, we always ended up canceling it anyway, so we're splitting the difference and we're gonna be having a meeting December 13th. Which is still a Wednesday, still at 8 o'clock, just, we aren't having our traditional fourth Wednesday of the month for November or December.
Okay,
It'll be December 13th.
thank you.
That's my report.
That's a great one. Laura, I had one question about that, like the mosaic mural and the other stuff. Is there a website within the city, a page or something where this stuff gets promoted? Is there a way, like press releases? Like how do we let people know about these great projects that are now going to be available to people?
We do post through our community and economic development page on a number of these things.
That's the first page I look at every morning, actually. Sorry.
Oh, it's so funny.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
well, exciting and fun information from local government is it's a little bit tricky to find, I think. But yeah, we do share out some of these opportunities or kind of cross post from like on Broadway and downtown Green Bay. Because they do have a lot more fun, exciting posts that a lot more eyeballs get attention on than ours. But as far as like the website, I haven't been putting these posts on a page, but.
Okay.
We also do press releases from time to time, especially when the mayor's office gets involved and there's an event. We always promote. So for instance, I believe there was a press release for the shipyard murals.
Yep.
And so we'll probably do another one if that event gets rescheduled.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
I'd also like to give a shout out to Kent. Kent, is this your last meeting with us?
This is my last meeting.
Thank you, Kent, for your service and dedication to art in Green Bay. Golf claps, Zoom claps.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
Don't be a stranger.
No,
Yeah, we hope to see you again.
I'll come back. I'm gonna sit in the audience and
You can,
heckle.
you can log on virtually.
Oh, yeah. No matter where I am.
Zion National Park in the background, and we're all like, hey, Kent.
Yeah, you're all jealous. He brought donuts in.
Yeah, Quick Trip Donuts too.
Oh, man.
Nothing but the best. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you all.
Oh, motion to adjourn.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We never get any opposition. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.